Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to be doing our final block on the Calypso quilt. Excuse me. Something got caught in my throat. Next week, we're going to start putting it all together, but here's block 10. Isn't it pretty? It's a simple block. We're only doing 4 of them, but there's a lot of piecing in this one. So it's going to take you a little while. Like I've been saying right along, make sure that you lay out all of your blocks so you don't get confused. Okay, it's very easy on these blocks to get confused on where you're going to put in pieces. Okay. Um, so here's our block. I did put one side together, and we're going to do the rest of them. First thing we're going to start off with is our little 4 patch. So we've got half square triangles and a full block. It's real simple. All you're going to do is sew these together. I don't even pin them. I will pin this one as I'm going to my, or even just clip it as I go to my machine so I remember which side I'm sewing on. Okay. Real simple. Just kind of chain piece them. Now, on these, I ironed it towards this side. And then ironed this one, oh crap, like this, towards this one, so that they are easy to nest my seams and line them up. So I'm just going to lay the side that I want the seam to go towards on top, set my seam, and then iron it over. Spray it with a quick spritz of best press. And then we go. Here we go. Oops, wrong way. This way. Now, and the seams will butt right up against each other. The top seam's going to the right, the bottom seam's going to the left. They will butt right up against each other, and I'm going to put a pin diagonally. Reason I do that is so that I can start sewing from here. Stop with my needle down in the seam before I take my pin out. Now, also, you're going to see the X. What is the X? Well, that's where we sewed our half square triangle together. And see the X, you want to make sure you sew on this side of your block, just a thread width. That way you won't cut off your points. Make sure to lift up my foot so my seams stay where I want them to. Stop with my needle down in my seam before I take my pin out. And then we'll keep on going. There we go. Now, this seam will go up, just like this one. So I want this seam to go down, just like that. So I can piece these two with no problem. Sorry about that. You heard that. It was my husband sneezing. All right, check it out. Oops, wrong one. Sorry. Because I sewed on the right side of my X, I haven't cut any of my seams off and they piece together beautifully. So this one's going to go here. These are our two flying geeses. It's real simple. I'm just going to sew them. But I'm actually going to sew from, hold on. Yeah, I'm going to sew from this side again so I can see my X and make sure I don't cut off the point on my flying geese. So, can you see that? See that X? So I want to make sure I'm on this side of the X, even just the thread width. Again, I'm going to pick up my foot so my seams stay nice and flat. There you go. Now I'm going to iron this seam up. It's the least bulky. If you iron it down, you get a bulk spot, right? I'm going to iron the seam up because if I iron it down, there's going to be a nice bulky spot right here, and I don't want that. I want it as flat as possible. Again, set my seam, iron it over, spray it. There you go. Pretty as you please. So now we're at the point where we can iron these two together and then iron our 3 rows together. Because oops, hold on, let me fix this. Let me fix this seam, seam unironed. Because I watched my seams the whole time I was sewing this, all of my seams should be going in the correct direction. So for this one, we've got the top seam going to the right, the bottom seam going to the left. We're going to butt them up against each other, pin it, and then we can start sewing. For this one, there is no seam, so it's just a matter of lining it all up and sewing it. Do the easy one. Stop with my needle down before I take my pin out. line the rest of it up and we can find out. Now, before we go any further, I did want to give you a heads up. As you can see, my flying geese, I didn't cut any of the dog ears off, but all of the half square triangles had to be trimmed up. After you, and I used the 8 at once on page 3 for my all of my half square triangles. The flying geese were done the 4 at once, also at the bottom of page 3. So the only thing I had to trim up were all of the half square triangles. Other than that, none of it, I didn't worry about any of it. And like I said, all of my flying geese still have the dog ears, and I'm good with that. So this part, we're going to iron up, and this one we're going to iron down towards the center block. Just make sure you guys square up your half square triangles, or else you're going to have issues because they're not going to fit. Right. Now, we got a bunch to line up, but they should all the seams should be going in the correct direction, since I've been real careful the whole time that I've been sewing. All we've got to do is we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 seams to line up. If your seam feels bulky, then you probably have it lined up incorrectly. It should be very smooth and flat. Let me re-iron this one over just a little bit. All right. And now we're going to sew it from this way down. And I just go slow. Here we go. That's it's not too bad, not too shabby. So I will be ironing this one in towards the center. Sorry, I forget. Not too shabby. Now we just got to put this one on, and it's the same seams that we have to align. This quilt has been fairly simple. Um, it's a little confusing here and there, but if you lay it out, you won't get confused. But it's a great quilt for one, getting your 1/4 inch seam down, and two, lining up your seams. This is a great one to help you learn how to line up your seams. So, almost done. All right. I just gotta iron this one. I'm gonna iron this seam in also towards the center. Next week, we're gonna start putting it together. And I think I'm gonna go from the center out. If you have some place that you can lay out the blocks, that'd be great. So you're not gonna confuse yourself when you try to put it together. But isn't it pretty? Very, very pretty. I love it. There you go. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments. I can't wait to see your blocks. Next week, we'll start putting it together. Have a great week, everybody. Bye.